I met him at an open house. He came in, he said he had a realtor, which is something that one of you was saying earlier. Oh, they say they have realtors. After a lengthy conversation with him, I realized right away his realtor was really not his realtor. He didn't even really know his realtor's name. He had to look it up in his phone. His realtor hadn't shown him any houses yet, and his realtor had not set him up to win. He was going to be a VA buyer, which I don't know if you know this, but in this market is super challenging for VA buyers. And he didn't have any money for closing costs, and he wasn't pre-approved. There's a program called VA Strong for VA buyers to actually have a second kind of mortgage for their closing costs so that they can really have no cost at closing. But he wasn't approved for that. He didn't have any of that worked out. So I converted him into one of my buyers. He called his other agent and said, hey, I found another agent I think is going to be a better fit for me. And that agent said, yeah, no problem, go right ahead. So don't always think that because somebody tells you that they have an agent, that they really have an agent. So anyway, so I got him pre-approved through a preferred lender of mine, and they were able to do the VA Strong program. So he really did not have any closing costs to come out of pocket with, but he still was going to have costs, right? He was still going to have to pay for his inspection and things like that. So these Netsheets really are a tool for you. They're a sales tool. Don't think of it as paperwork you have to do for your broker. Think of it as a tool that you will use to make sure that you take your buyer and seller all the way from that consult all the way to closing with as few surprises as possible, because that makes your buyer's experience with you so much better, and they're so much more likely to refer you business because they're going to feel like that you really invested in them, you really explained everything for them, and they have a good experience buying a house versus someone who's feels like they don't know anything that's going on and they're surprised at every little dollar that they have to spend. And we don't want that experience for people, right? So I have found that these are some of the toughest conversations to have, but they do make you a much better real estate agent. It's something that I keep training people to do. You have to have these conversations. You have to find out how much cash do they have? Do they have money saved up? Is every dollar going to matter? Because this is a big deal, right? Especially for buyers in this market, that they might tell you, oh, I only have $10,000 I'm willing to spend, but I have an extra $20,000 in a 401k I could borrow if I have to. So this is really, really important information that we need, because it's all part of not just getting the client, but having the client have a great experience and getting them to close. Is that helpful?
Yes.
So I have found that if you can look at these documents as tools instead of as things to do, it's very helpful. Okay, so the first line, let me ask you, so I'm planning to do a net sheet for a buyer that we already have under contract. So is there anybody who needs to do a net sheet now, either for a buyer or a seller? That is, I don't see your name. Can you unmute yourself and tell me your name?
Aaron.
Aaron. Hi, Aaron.
Hi.
Are you under contract, or tell me the situation?
I am under contract, 2 buyers, one literally right now as we speak.
Excellent.
And it's VA.
Okay.
Excellent. But yeah, I need to do one for both of them. So.
Okay. All right. Let's do that. Okay. Because I think that'll be more beneficial than showing you one. Now, do you have an initial fees worksheet for the lender for either one of the buyers?
I do have one for the VA buyer.
Okay. Who's doing that loan?
USAA.
Okay. Excellent. So hold on one second. Xavier, can she share her screen and pull it up, or we'll just, so here's an example of an initial fees worksheet. Can you guys see this? Mm-hmm. Xavier and I use Keller Mortgage quite a bit. We really love their customer service. We have a loan officer that we've been working with for a few years. We do most of our loans for our buyers are closed through Keller Mortgage. For the simple fact that if you can see at the very top here, it tells you closing costs, the loan origination fee is waived, the processing fees are waived, and the underwriting fees are waived. And then if you look here, there's a credit of $1,000 for the buyer towards closing cost. So this is something that we get for all of our buyers from Keller Mortgage, which I know is difficult to get this sometimes from additional lenders, but this will really help you do your buyer's estimated net sheet. Now, if you don't have one of these for your specific buyer, you can use it as a guideline for what the fees are going to be. So I know if I have another Keller Mortgage buyer, the fees are going to be pretty similar, but we also have to calculate specifically based on the purchase price. So this is an initial fees worksheet. You don't have to have one of these to do a buyer's closing cost, but it will be very helpful if you do. So when you get a pre-approval for a buyer, you want to also request this initial fees worksheet. Now, a lender might tell you, oh, we don't do that until we have a property. Oh, okay, guess what? Go on MLS and find a property that's in their price range in the area that they want and give them that address. And they can mock up one for you. It doesn't mean this is going to be exactly what it is, but it's a good estimate to work from. And remember, we are doing estimates, not exact numbers.
Do you use that at the consultation?
Well, I might not have this at the consultation. It depends on where we are in the process. So the consultation usually even comes way before this. But I will go over the bio. Oh, he asked, do I use this at the consultation? So if I don't have this, which usually I don't, I'll still go over the buyer's cost sheet for them and let them know that this is about what this is going to cost. This is about what this is going to cost. This is about what this is going to cost.
Microphone.
Okay. But then once you have this initial fees worksheet, you can actually do it more accurately.
So a couple points you want to make. So one thing is we want to make sure.
Hold on, Xavier's going to talk now.
Any chance you can get rid of the microphone. Okay, so what we want to make sure when you're thinking about closing costs is that you're thinking it's not just closing costs. Remember, for a buyer, it's closing costs, prepaids, and escrows. So you want to make sure that you have that all together for yourself. And
What's the
then
next one in here?
for closing costs here, when we're thinking about lender fees, so some lender fees, they vary wildly. So you think of there's processing fees and underwriting fees. So if you don't know, a good estimate is what I've always been told is you can take like $5.95 is the processing fee and $8.95 is an underwriting fee. That's kind of right in the middle because some people are going to be more, some people will be none, like Keller Mortgage here. So that's a good estimate if you want to write that down for yourself. So I'm going to mute them now.
We're pretty good about starting
Okay, so
our cutoff at 45.
so what you want to make sure is, like I said, $5.95 processing fee, $8.95 underwriting fee. That's a good, you want to write that down, okay? Because that's a good estimate for yourself. While Keller Mortgage is amazing and you're not getting charged those lender fees, that's setting an unreal expectation if you're not for sure that the buyer is going to use that lender, if they already came to you with a lender, or if they don't get approved with that lender.
Thank you. Well, my recommendation is check out Keller Mortgage because I always feel like if I can save my buyers a couple $1,000s real money at closing, then that's my fiduciary duty to do that. And they do. Our buyers are saving around $3,000 when they use Keller Mortgage. So we always go to Keller Mortgage first, and we explain this to our buyers why. And then, of course, we want to use Keller Mortgage because we know we can close a loan with them versus some, unknown company that they come with from online or something. And we have no way to build a relationship. We don't even have a phone number to call someone. So any questions so far about an initial fees worksheet from the lender?
So what you're saying is it's good practice if there is any other lender that we've been talking to who we're going to be giving the name off to a potential buyer, just take a random address if they need one and just ask them to make out as like a buyer net sheet for us so we can use that in our consults?
Well, two things, Arlene. One is a lender that you're working with should be able to give you a fee worksheet regardless of what the property is. Because what you need to know is exactly what Xavier said. What is their underwriting fee? What is their processing fee? What is their loan origination fee? What are those fees? They should be the same really no matter what the loan is. So if you're going to be working with them, I would ask for that. Secondly, I wouldn't call it like a random property. I would say make sure that it's a property that fits the criteria and the price point of your specific buyer in the area, like preferably in the same zip codes and things
Sure.
that they're looking for, because you don't want to compare like a flood zone property to a non-flood zone property, or like a Pasco property to a Pinellas property, because those are not going to be comparable apples to apples. So you want to try and narrow it down, like, okay, well, this is pretty much the kind of house they're looking for. I don't care if it's sold, under contract, active, it doesn't matter. We just need to get an idea of what this closing is going to cost these buyers.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions so far? How you guys doing?
Hey, Jackie, it's Eric again.
Hey, Eric.
Just wanted to point out, and I've run into it a few. Luckily, I've had cash buyers where that obviously changes everything completely when you type in your closing costs for the underwriting, because there is none. So, this market, there's a lot of cash buyers. So people just be aware where it's pretty shocking of the closing costs are a lot less with the cash.
I know. Doesn't it make you want to cry a little bit? It's like, oh my gosh.
It's amazing.
But yeah, it's a good point. So none of these fees are applicable in a cash transaction. In fact, you'll have a lot of zeros on your buyer closing cost when it's a cash transaction, which is really awesome for the buyer.
So what fees are applicable for a cash deal? Can you cover that at the end?
Well, let's go over the closing cost sheet and I'll point that out to you now. Okay.
Excellent.
So, was her name Erin? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Erin. Okay, Erin.
Yep.
What is the address of the property that your buyer is under contract for?
Okay, so one of them is 2632 Enterprise Road East. And this is a condo.
Okay.
So it's number A22 and it's Clearwater.
Zip code is?
33759.
And what's the purchase price?
166.
This is good. It's a condo because there's going to be additional fees here. And what is the amount that they are going to mortgage?
75,000.
Okay, good. So they got some cash to put down. And what is their escrow deposit?
10,000.
10,000. So guys, I know this says down payment. It's really confusing. It's really not down payment. It's escrow deposit. And you can, if you wanted to alter this form in any way, you can do this. So you can go like this. Right. So that's not as confusing for the buyer, because the buyer might feel like, well, their down payment is the difference between 75,000 and 166. But that's not actually what we're asking for here. We're asking for an escrow deposit here.
And you're in dot loop?
I'm in dot loop, but the form should be the same.
I don't think so.
It's not the same?
It won't let me.
It's pretty similar. I have it open up here.
Oh, it won't let you drop a text box over
Yeah,
it?
I won't let you do a text box, but that's, that's.
That would be later.
Yeah, you could do it when you have it in your envelope.
For DocuSign, where they're looking in the template, they can fill
Come
out the
stand next to
forms.
me and talk.
Aaron said it already. Okay, can we get back in front of the camera? Okay, so if you're in DocuSign in your room and you're just pulling up the document, you will only be able to do the edited fields available, and the text boxes and the other manipulation of the documents happens later, as Aaron said, in the envelope. So once you get ready to prepare it to send to someone, that's when you can drop text boxes, etc. And dot loop that you're looking at, she could just randomly drop the text box now. So it's two different things, that's all.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so appraisal fee. Did you say this is a VA buyer or this is not the VA buyer?
No, this is not the VA buyer.
Okay, so a VA appraisal is going to be higher than a conventional appraisal.
And in this
because-
case, she's waiving the appraisal, but
So she's not going to do an appraisal?
correct.
Are you sure the lender isn't going to require an appraisal?
Yeah, he's the one who told her she could waive it. So this
Okay.
lender is Kurt Kennedy there in the
Okay,
office.
because
Van
she,
Dyke.
so probably in this case, because she's putting such a large amount of money down,
Right.
that they won't need an appraisal on this, which is great for her. It's awesome.
Yeah.
An appraisal fee for a conventional loan is probably going to be somewhere around $450 or $500. And you can even do that in here. You can go $450 to $500. You can put a range in here if you want to. Okay. So I don't want you to feel like you have to have an exact number. I always err on the side of caution. So I would probably say 500 if it were my buyer. And then you can also do something like this, TBD. Now, TBD is kind of a cop out. It's like, oh, well, we don't really know. So it doesn't really give your buyer a whole lot of information. So I don't like to use that unless I absolutely have to. So just write down a conventional loan is going to be somewhere between $450 and $500. VA is going to be $650. And the reason for that is because a VA appraisal is so much more extensive than a conventional loan. They actually come in and they inspect the home. So they inspect for paint chipping, electrical issues, water leaks and things like that. So it takes a lot more time for the appraiser to actually do it. So it's a little bit more expensive. And FHA is also usually around $550, $600. So for this specific net sheet, we're going to put 0. And I might just put a note, lender not required. Okay. Okay. Do you have any estimated lender fees for this, Erin?
I do not.
Okay.
So this
So-
is one where I got nothing. The VA one I've got stuff. So
This is where the 595 would come in.
Yeah.
Van Dyke number.
Oh, Van Dyke is, and she's using Van Dyke, right?
Yeah. she's
Oh,
using
okay.
everything, so
Okay.
595.
So Erin, I'm almost positive you can get those numbers pretty quickly from Kurt. And before you finish your net sheet, I recommend that you do that. Okay.
okay.
But for now, we're going to use 595. You can also use TBD. Like, let's say you have a buyer who says, well, I don't know, I might pay cash, or I might do a loan, or I might put 50% down, or I might, do the whole thing. And you're in a buyer consult and you're like, okay, well, we have no idea. So we can just put TBD for this one. But again, I don't like to use TBD unless I absolutely have to, because I want to make sure the buyer is as informed as possible. And I want to make sure I'm as informed as possible. So for this, go ahead.
Well, so let's ask. So I told you to write it down earlier. Processing fee and underwriting fee. I gave you an estimate. If you weren't using a lender that didn't have them, what was that estimate for those two numbers?
595 processing, 895 underwriting.
Yay! So if you add those together, what do you get?
Let me get my handy dandy calculator. $1,490.
Booyah!
Do you actually have a calculator?
Yeah, like a big
I
old
mean, I
school one.
literally just heard the numbers getting.
with
That's
like
awesome.
the receipt paper and everything.
I want to hear it. I
What
wanna
was
hear
it? Wait, what was it? 1,490.
90.
Okay, awesome.
Because you see there's you don't see two separate lines for underwriting and processing. Do you?
Mhm.
So when it says estimated lender fees, you're putting those together. In this
Okay.
Okay, so loan origination fee. I mean, I think Van Dyke's is $800.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm almost sure. I mean, because Xavier and I have used Van Dyke for our loans, so unless they changed it, I believe it's $800. So we'll put in $800 and see. So this is where, if you look at estimated lender fees and loan origination fees for our Keller Mortgage clients, we just put 0 in there because they don't pay those. All right. Okay. So any questions so far? The big thing is I don't want you to get hung up on having exact numbers. Okay. I don't want you to get hung up on that, because you're not going to have exact numbers in many of these cases. You just want to keep, thinking that this is an estimate, this is an estimate, this is an estimate, and you want to continue to reiterate that to your clients.
So
Which is, I think, where you kind of get stuck, right? Sometimes when you're doing these, is
Yeah.
like you want it to be exact because that's your personality, is to have it exact, and you can get stuck. And he'll say, "Oh, what should I put for this and what should I put for that?"
and then she pulls a random number out, and I go, "You just made that up. I know you made that up. You want me to put that down?" So here's the solution that we
I don't make it up. It's from experience.
Years of experience. I
Yeah.
know. So what we'll do is before we send this, we'll actually drop a text box in this blank area
And
here.
show them how to do it.
Well, if we can do it well, I guess we could do it now, but
Yeah.
so excuse me.
I'm
What
standing
gonna-
close to you so that you can.
Oh, okay. So remember, if you in DocuSign, you would just be doing this later in the envelope if you wanted to do this. So what I'll do is I'll just put in here something like hold on. I like to center it. This is
Oh,
where my
Lord.
OCD
Oh,
kicks
Lord.
in. Oh boy, I'm sorry. My wife's already tired of me. And then I'll put down. So I'm going to say lender and title company to provide accurate figures prior to closing. Something like that. And then what I'll do is I will manually add an initial box right up here. Because most of the time, buyers and sellers, when they're signing electronically, what do? They click in.
Click.
And what does the system do? It takes them to the next spot. There's no initials or signatures anywhere up here. So what happens is it goes straight to the bottom after they did whatever previous form. They're all the way down here. They're just going to see some bottom line number if they even look at it. And then they're going to hold you to that number because they didn't read anything else, right? So if we can drop an initial box right by this thing, right beside where it says these
Show them
figures
how
are
to do
initial
that.
estimates only, but it's not relevant if they're using DocuSign. But so yes, add initial, and I just literally drop it right beside. So when they go to sign it, it's literally right beside the box. Now I would clean this box up. I'd make it smaller. I'd make it more precise, but I'm not going to do that for the moment. But that's how that would work. Okay. So by adding that one extra initial right beside a box, we told them that these are estimates only, and they'll get accurate numbers before closing.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of aids in the addition to the conversation you have, because you should be having some form of a conversation with them saying, hey, I sent you some documents. And by the way, the closing cost estimated closing cost sheet,
Mm-hmm.
because some of these numbers we don't know yet.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, cool. Thank you. Questions so far? You have to move quicker. We're gonna
You
never
have to
get
move
through there.
quicker.
Okay. Intangible tax. Who remembers this from your real estate license class? Do you guys remember this? This is something you had to know, right?
Yeah.
Intangible tax and doc stamps on the mortgage. So Aaron, with your massive calculator, how would you calculate this? Do you know, or do you need
Yeah.
some instruction?
I know. I would take
Okay.
75,000, which is the
Mhm.
mortgage amount, divided by 100 times 0.20, and that's $150.
Good job. Everybody give Erin a hand. She didn't know she was going to be teaching the class today. Okay, how much is it?
$150.
$150. Okay, so then that takes us to the doc stamps on the mortgage. And how would you calculate that?
The same 75,000 divided by 100 times 0.35, 262.50.
262.50. Excellent. Okay, so this sheet is very easy because they give you the formulas right here. So, does anybody need to do that again? Because it literally is telling you 0.20 divided by, times $100 mortgage amount. So you just have to figure out how many hundreds, right, go into the mortgage amount.
Basically saying 20 cents on instead of on the dollar, it's on the $100.
Yeah.
So what you do is you take your total mortgage amount, divide it by 100, and then you get 20 cents on that. And you have to remember, because this is where it'll bite you when you're going really fast or you're nervous, mortgage amount.
And guys, I will tell you that I have had to correct lenders that the lenders will calculate it on the purchase price. And I have literally had to fight to correct lenders because I don't know that it's like this in every state. But you know, you sometimes have lenders that are in Ohio or Michigan or wherever, and they have different kind of ways to calculate things. And so definitely make sure you double check this. Okay, estimated mortgagee title insurance. So we all know that there's a bazillion title companies out there. The title insurance should be the same for whatever title company you're using. We use Star Title. We love Star Title. We have a really phenomenal relationship with Star Title. And so what we do is we use Star Title's website, which I thought I had it up, but I don't. So if you go to Star Title's website, you will see here, get a quote. So for your instant quote right here, get a quote. It's so simple. What's the property location again, Erin?
Clear, 2632 Enterprise Road East.
All right, I would choose Palm Harbor. Transaction with financing. Your sales price is 166. Your loan amount is 75. You're gonna need a condo, right? It's a condo, so you check that box there. Don't ask me what these other boxes are, but I just use them as checked because I guess they know what they're doing. And then what you have right here is title insurance. Lender's title insurance, $350. Xavier will want to say something here probably. Do you? You want to say something here?
Yeah, that number is random. So this is why you have to make sure you tell them this is an estimate, because I've seen that number in the thousands. What would that be like for a buyer or a seller when they, or well, in this case, a buyer, and you put 350 and then it ends up with whatever the mortgagee title.
I think that happened to us once and we're not sure why, but
we don't know why, but I saw it happen.
I almost always I use this for everything. So it also has closing fees for the title company, $650.
So the thing is, some of these numbers are coming from a lender, some of these numbers are coming from a title company, okay? And yet our brokerage requires that this document gets signed at the time of contract. So if you're just going under contract on a property, have you even communicated with the title company yet? Have you, you haven't even sent the lender the contract yet to let them know you're under contract? So you're estimating these numbers up front because it's our fiduciary, obligation to ensure that the buyer has these numbers at the time they're actually signing a contract. Does it make sense to send this to them like when you're already a couple of weeks in and you're trying to get your compliance done and they're already under contract and past their inspection period?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah,
right.
That's what you will be doing most of the time, Erin, just so you
Well,
know.
so somebody else had filled it out that's on my team, but it wasn't right. So, and then you guys were doing this class today. So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do this myself.
Good. It's always good to know because we do have transaction coordinators who do this for
Mhm.
us as well, but it's always good to know what you're doing yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have this credit report, flood certificate, tax service fee from the lender, Erin?
Nope.
This would be part of the fees that would be in their fee sheet,
Itemized fee worksheet.
their itemized fee worksheet. So a credit report is usually around $95. They won't need a flood certificate if it's not in a flood zone. Is
It's
it in a
not.
flood? Okay, so they won't need that. I have no idea what a tax service fee is, so I'm putting $100 in this line.
Okay.
There is not going to be a VA funding fee or an FHA upfront fee for this one, but a VA funding fee, it can be pretty hefty. You need to get that from the lender. So there's all different, that's like a whole nother class on VA funding fee, to be honest with you, that a lender can teach. But VA, if you are a disabled veteran, there's like 30%, 50%, 100%. You get discounts on this. So if you're 100% disabled or more than 30% disabled, what is it?
So they have what they call service connected disability, and they give you a rating. If your rating is 30% or higher, you can get an exemption on the VA funding fee. So it's not like it changes or it gives you a different rate. It's literally you're exempt from it. But you have to have that documentation from the VA that then you provide to the lender, and then they can remove that fee.
So you want to find out from your VA buyer, Aaron, I know you said you have one, if they
Mhm.
have any disability through the VA. But a funding fee can be a few $1,000s. This is not a couple dollars. This can be a few $1,000s.
Yeah, I'm looking at the one, the loan summary worksheet that they sent me, and it doesn't even say anything about it on here. So I
Okay.
don't know. I don't know.
Okay,
I'll find
yeah,
out about that.
You'll want to double check that.
Okay.
Survey, if they need a survey, so survey sometimes can be seller provided. You might always want to ask for your buyer if the seller has a survey. If they do, typically the seller will just give it to the buyer so they can save $350. But if they have to do a survey, which is going to be required by the lender in most cases, the title company will have to order it, and it's around $350.
Do you
So-
generally have to do a survey on a condo?
Yeah, the lender may require it. Let's put it in here just in case, Aaron,
Okay.
and then you can follow up with the lender
Yeah.
on that, okay? Is your buyer going to do a termite inspection?
No.
Okay, a termite inspection is usually around $95.
And then the VA, and I know, I mean, I'm going back and forth 'cause I
Yeah,
have both,
mhm.
but VA, the seller usually pays for that, right?
That's right.
Not usually.
Always, yeah.
They have to.
Mhm.
The buyer can't pay for that.
Okay, home warranties, that's a whole nother class that I recommend that you take. We really highly recommend home warranties for our buyers and our sellers. There depends on the house, it depends on all this stuff, but it's usually around $500. It can go a little higher if you do like a deluxe kind of thing with a pool and everything, but we usually estimate it to be about $500 on our worksheets. It'll be a little bit less for a condo, Aaron, if your buyer is interested in one, but we always give this as an option. Just a quick little thing is that we never want to feel like after we've taught a class, after we've sold a house, that someone's AC breaks or someone's refrigerator breaks, and they're pretty much broke right now because they've just spent all their money, right, to buy a house. And so we just hate getting those calls like, oh my gosh, my stove just quit working, or oh, and it's like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for you. But guess what? You have your home warranty. Yay! Just call we use First American Home Warranty. That's who we recommend with Stephanie Shaughnessy. That's who we've been using for years, and we've had really, really good luck with them. So anyway, is she going to do a home warranty? Do you know, Aaron?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so we'll put 0 in there.
Or TBD.
Yeah, you can put TBD also,
Yeah, I'm gonna ask. I'm
because
gonna
they just
follow
have
up
to
on-
decide before closing.
Okay.
But you could put TBD, like, I think for a condo, it's going to be like $350, right?
Yeah. Depends on what they.
Hey,
I mean, it
Jack,
sounds
can't
like
they
you
do
got
it
like a
after
two-bedroom,
too?
two-bath. What, Eric?
Can't they do it after too, the home warranty? Don't they have some time? It
I
might
think
be-
they have 30 days, but it's really best if you do it like and make it included in their closing, and then title company will just put it on their settlement statement, and it all gets done that way.
Gotcha.
If-
Thank you.
Eric, so in that case, if it gets done that way, even though the home warranty company hasn't been paid yet, the service is in effect from closing. So let's say the day after closing, something happens with one of those pieces of equipment, even though the title company hasn't actually sent the funds yet to the home warranty company, they're still covered.
Oh, okay, good to
So
know.
that's the piece that gets missing then, because if they wait in that 30-day window, then they got to apply, they got to send their payment in, they got to wait for the policy to get activated, et cetera.
True.
You avoid that if you just get it done before closing.
Appreciate it, X. Thanks.
Okay, Aaron, do you have a question, Mike?
Actually, I do.
Okay.
But how did you know?
I just like got the vibe.
Do they still have the, on the seller's end, if you offer to buy the warranty for the buyer, does it go in effect when you commit to it without paying anything? Is there something, am I making this up? Something, seems like I remember something like that. And then when it closes,
Mhm.
the seller pays for the warranty, and I don't want to turn this into a home warranty.
Yeah. Do you understand this question? I don't think I do.
Yeah, so what he's asking about is seller coverage. And so seller coverage covers from the moment that you purchase it, let's say go under contract all the way up until the closing. So if anything happens, because the seller is liable for the property to remain in the same condition up until closing, from which when the buyer went under contract.
It's a separate policy. It's a seller's policy, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're
So
talking
what he's
about.
saying is, hey, can they start that policy?
I mean, one of the
when-
things that you could do for your sellers, like, because I know you working with expireds, is you can offer to buy a home warranty for them from the time you list with them until the time they close. So if the AC goes out or if the refrigerator fails or something like that happens, it would be covered by the seller's policy. And I think it's like $100.
less than
It's
that sometimes.
yeah,
Maybe what I'm thinking.
it's really inexpensive, and it's not a bad thing, especially if you know you have a seller that's really tight with their net, you know, like they don't have a lot of room in there and stuff, and like if something goes wrong, it could be a big deal, and they express a lot of concern for you about that. Then you could say, you know what, I'll buy you a seller's policy, a seller's home warranty policy. So it could be like an added benefit that you do, or you can offer for them to buy it, you know. But it's probably something that most agents who go in are not going to talk about.
Right.
I'm always looking for different things that a seller will look at me and go, how come nobody else told me that? Because I'm amazing and you need to hire me. Okay, Aaron, do you guys charge a closing coordinator fee?
Yes, $395.
$395. Okay. And you charge it to your buyer,
Buyer.
right?
Yep.
Okay. So a transaction coordinator fee is really, it's completely up to you and how you do your business. We almost always charge it. Where we don't charge it is VA buyers, for a couple of reasons. One is we really try and help our VA buyers. We even give them some of our commission sometimes. We'll give them $1,000 of our commission to help out. Xavier's a veteran, and anything we can do to help veterans, we always try to do that. But also, you can't put the transaction coordination fee on the settlement statement for a VA buyer. So you would have to have them pay that separately. So it's just a little bit more cumbersome. But we charge it pretty much for everything else, unless it's a luxury buyer sell side, we don't, because our commission is going to be, you know, we just absorb that in our commission. So that's where you would put that if you charge one. Any questions about that? I don't want to go a whole lot into transaction coordinator fee, but if you have questions. Oh, Shelly, I see your digital hands.
Yeah, I'm kind of going backwards on you before you get
Go
too
ahead.
far. I guess I was curious back up there on the VA funding fee and the FHA upfront fee.
Yes.
I guess I heard, I don't know, it was Aaron say that this is usually paid by the seller. I've never had a VA loan or FHA buyer.
This is always, these are paid by the buyer, not the seller.
She said she
Oh.
was doing termite.
Oh, termite inspection. Yeah. As part of the VA, the seller has to pay for the termite inspection. That's in the VA addendum that you would attach when you have a VA buyer.
Okay, for termite inspection. So what is a VA funding fee? What's the estimate on those fees? I mean, this is something the buyer pays if they have a VA loan, right, or FHA?
Yeah, you'll need to get that specifically from the lender, but I know it's a few $1,000s. I think it's somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000.
2 to 3, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you. I wasn't clear on that
You're
one.
welcome. Any other questions so far? Xavier's pointing at his watch. All right, attorney fee. We're not really an attorney state. What I usually do here is I put TBD. I don't want to put 0 because I don't want to assume or have the buyer assume that they don't need an attorney. I always want them to feel like they can have an attorney if they want, and they need to go, you know, find one and get an estimate. So I always put TBD here. I don't know how other people do it. Most of our buyers and sellers aren't using attorneys, but sometimes they will, and they'll use them to just go over the contracts, or, I mean, it might be used more in commercial transactions than in residential transactions. So I usually do TBD. Does anybody have anything else that they do for that on the call that they want to share when it comes to the attorney fee? Okay. All right, inspections, paid at time of inspection. We use SEC inspection services. That's who we've been using for 5 years. We absolutely love them. We have a personal relationship with them and they're awesome. And I know that their inspections are around $450 for full inspection with 4-point and wind mitt and everything. So I usually put the full amount here, which would be $450. And then I have my buyers speak to the inspector directly to decide what they want. Like I might have a buyer that's like, you know what, you don't really need to do a whole inspection on this. You can just do a 4-point because you're going to need it on your insurance. Or, you know, you can spend the whole $450 and get the whole thing.
And you said
SEC, SEC, Melissa Menakheim. I can give you their information after class if you want. Okay, buyer's recording fees. We can go right back to Star Title, and that should be right here. Here it is. This $27 right here is what they're referring to. Buyer deed recording fee. It's always $27, by the way. Okay, property taxes. This is a fun one. So have you calculated this yet, Aaron?
Have not.
Okay, where's my tax?
So on the inspections, because now like in this case, just put it on there anyway. I mean, she already paid for that. So it's
How
not
much-
necessarily part of closing costs.
How much did she pay?
I want to say she paid like 400, somewhere between 350 and 400. I can't remember now. There's so many.
I would
inspections.
still put it on there, and then
Okay.
you can put like paid next to it.
Okay.
What?
how can the buyer have already paid it?
She's already under contract, so she already ordered her inspection and paid for it.
And
Oh,
this
I
is
thought
the
we were on
example.
property tax.
No, in this.
Oh no, she
example,
was talking about the inspection.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm a-
Yeah. That's
They went
okay.
backwards. You heard
Okay.
it right. They were on taxes and they went backwards.
Okay. Okay, so you want to go? I use IMAP
Mhm.
for the tax records. Tell me the address one more time. 70 something.
2632
Oh,
Definitely not
2632.
Enterprise Road East. It's number A22.
Oh geez. A11.
Right, number
22,
7. There
right
you go.
there. Okay. So what I typically do is I use this, and I look at their total tax amount for last year was $883.17. So Aaron, do you know how to calculate that for the day of closing?
Yes and no. I mean, I know you have to, the day of closing goes to the buyer, so you have to,
Let's work it out, okay?
yeah, okay.
So, and also remember, this is an estimate. So what I usually do is I just do it by the number of months. I don't go by the number of days. So I would take $883, I might round it up to 900 and
Mhm.
divide it by 12, which you come up with what number?
$75.
Can I move this thing? Okay. So $75 per month times, you could do 4 or 6 months. I always do 6 months just in case. So times 6 months is
$450.
$450. Now, the other way that you can do this, if you wanted to be even more accurate, is that you can go to the Pinellas County Tax Estimator. They have a tax estimator on their website where you can put in, is it going to be homestead? Is it not going to be homestead? How much are they paying for it? And then it'll give you a more accurate for what your buyer is going to be paying taxes for. And that's actually how the lender is going to do it too. They're going to do it on the projected taxes, not on what the previous, what the seller has been paying. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Does anybody need to go over that again?
Well, you made a good point, that might be higher.
Yeah, so if you go here, you can see when this person purchased. They purchased in 2012 for $82,000, the seller did. So in 2021 at $166,000, they're going to be paying more than that, right? So do you want me to show you the tax estimator website?
Yes.
It's PCPAO. pinellas.org, but I always just put in, I am in Pinellas.
Yeah, I just want to clarify it's Pinellas.
Oh, this is for Pinellas, yeah. So I always just Google Pinellas County Tax Estimator, which is what I tell my clients to do too. I send my clients here too if they want to know that, oh, what will the taxes be on this specific house? I'm like, oh, you can use this website and go to town, go look at all the different properties that you like and see what that's going to be. Then you have to agree to the terms. And then you just enter the address. Oh my gosh, tell me one more time. 2663 Enterprise?
2632
Oh gosh, so close.
Enterprise, and it's A22. So Enterprise Road East. You might have to put the E in there for East, and then
A.
pound. Do the pound or hashtag or whatever we call that thing these days. Ampersand.
That's not an ampersand.
Jackie, does Pasco County have a tax estimator?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. 2632
Yep.
Enterprise Road East.
No,
No?
just the E.
Just the E.
Oh my gosh.
Then the space. Then the space.
Space A. There you
Yay.
That's why I'm the detailed person.
go. I'm the same way.
All right, estimated property purchase price to
Well, you just messed it up. You got to go back and don't select the city, just the address.
Thank you.
It's one or the other.
Oh, one or the other.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's hard to do this when you have an audience watching. I can do this whole thing in about 10 minutes when you guys aren't here.
There you go.
To see, it pulls the parcel ID up right here.
Okay.
So this is general city municipality. Okay.
Okay.
166.
Are they transferring a homestead? Are they homesteaded somewhere else?
No, they're renting right now, so it'll just be.
Okay, so no.
And then
Yes, it will be homestead though.
Okay, perfect.
So it's asking if they're transferring a homestead, and then it's also saying.
Do
will
everyone
this
know
property-
what that means to transfer a homestead? Means they already have a house that's homesteaded, and then this is going to be their new homestead. So their new estimated tax amount is $2,070, right? Versus the 900 that we estimated.
That's a big difference, huh?
Yeah. So let's go ahead and
Then I would-
let's go ahead and recalculate maybe 2,100 divided by 12, Aaron.
Okay, so and then times 6 months would be $1,035 if we were using 6 months.
Awesome.
So
Mhm.
just want to make a note. So what this is telling you here is we're in the section of prepaids, because remember at the beginning we said we're talking about closing cost prepaids and escrows, right? So you're looking at the different prepaids escrows section here. That's what this is. And so getting the proper calculation is pretty important here, because that's the amount that's getting added into their closing costs total for the lender. Also, there's a proration of tax because the sellers had the property for X number of days until the buyer takes over and purchases, right? And our property taxes are paid what? In arrears. So at the end of 2021, the 2020 taxes that we're looking at, okay, cool, now that we need to pay those, but the buyer is not accountable for the whole year because the seller lived in the property for half the year or longer now, based on where we are right now in date and time. So they would get a credit at closing for those property taxes amount. That is a different line item than the tax amount that they're calculating to go.
Yeah,
to the
that's
lender.
not on this. That's not on this
Right.
net sheet. Yeah.
So we just want
So
to-
everything he said, just forget.
Right, I already like her credit will be like $512. So.
Yeah.
Too many
Yeah.
details, but I've
Sorry.
only spoken 5 times and we're already
No,
an
no,
hour and a
no,
half
no. You're
behind
doing good.
schedule.
You're doing good. You're doing good. You're doing good. Okay.
The class is only an hour and a half.
I know. Homeowners insurance. Did you get a quote yet for homeowners insurance?
Yep, it's $865 a year.
That seems a little high actually for a condo.
I thought so too.
So usually condos are around 500 or 600
That's
or like.
why I told her to get another estimate because I'm like, well, we only pay like $1,200 a year and have a 3,500 square foot home.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the homeowners insurance is going up exponentially,
Yeah.
like a lot. So, but I know we just got one on a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo, and it was like $55 a month.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway, and then it doesn't require flood insurance, right?
Nope.
Okay. You need to have a good handle on flood insurance, guys, because I always talk my buyers off a ledge when it comes to flood insurance because they're always like, no flood zone, no flood zone, no flood zone. I'm like, well, why? Oh, I don't want to pay flood insurance. Well, what if it's $800 a year and you love this? It's the perfect house. And they're like, oh, is that all it is? I'm like, it could be, depending on what flood zone is in, it could, unless it's like right on the water, which our house is right on the water and we pay $3,000. Well, we pay $3,600 a year with flood and homeowners insurance. So it's like, we would not have that house because of $3,600, right? So really have these conversations with your buyers because they get so like somebody has said something to them about flood insurance in Florida.
Especially because we deal with a lot of almost all our business referral people moving from out of Florida. So they hear, is there alligators? And they hear, well, what's flood insurance? Oh my God, it's a flood zone. I was told.
So like really get in reality with them about it. Now, if they're like super, tight on their pre-approval and their debt to income, yeah, they probably do need to stay away from flood zones. But most of the time people have made up something crazy about flood insurance and it's really not the case. And then PMI, she's not going to have PMI, right? Because she's putting down so much money. But you need to get this from your loan estimate, your lender estimate fees, the PMI. And interim interest also, you need to get that from the lender. So I usually almost always put TBD on that one because it's usually pretty nominal. It's probably going to be somewhere around $20 or $30, depending on the price of their loan. Okay, so now we have all of our figures in here, and then Erin's going to use her handy dandy calculator and tell us what the balance is from the purchase price, down payment, and mortgage. So what does that mean? Oh, okay, yeah. So Erin, go ahead and add up all of the fees, and we're gonna put that in this line here where it says total estimated closing costs and prepaids.
Okay, so we're adding up from appraisal fee down.
Yeah,
Okay.
everything that we just filled in.
And then
Is everybody still with us? Anybody
Yeah.
falling asleep?
all those people.
Somebody's eating lunch. I'm sure of it.
That's in here. That's where the kitchen.
Tabitha had her Chick-fil-A.
So while she's calculating that, do you want to give people an idea? Because she had that number for homeowners insurance, like right off the bat, but there's probably people like me who are like, well, that's one of those numbers I get stuck on. Because if I don't have an estimate yet, how am I supposed to give someone a calculation at the time of when we're executing a contract? Because that's when this is supposed to be signed.
That's a very good question. And honestly, the way I know it is through experience.
So this is where she makes up the number. Like
I
we
don't,
talked
stop
about
saying
earlier.
I make up numbers. It sounds so bad.
No, it doesn't.
I know because I have like a
But-
library of ones that I've
I'm
done.
with you,
so I
Xavier.
kind of know.
Agents here don't have a library.
Yeah.
Your estimated
Yeah, it's in my brain. So I would connect with a insurance broker. I'll give you mine if you want. And I would have a preemptive conversation about your buyer and say, hey, here's the buyer, here's what they're looking for. What's an estimate that I can give them so they know how much they're going to need at closing. So I would do that ahead of time before you do this sheet. So, and they're going to be like, oh, well, it depends on flood zone. No, they're not going to have a flood zone. They need the best quote that they can get. And we know this is just going to be an estimate. They might ask you for the buyer's like social security number and things like that, but just say, no, I just want an estimate for right now of what we can like, and you can even give me a range if you want to. That's what I would do if I was new, just starting out and I didn't know about homeowners insurance. But it's kind of interesting. Like, did you see how Erin said, yeah, but I have a 3,500 square foot and I pay $1,200 a year. So I know that seems like a lot. It's like deductive reasoning, right? It's like, wait a second, this seems like it's not going to be ideal. Do you have a number for us, Erin?
Yep,
What is it?
$6,924.50.
$6,924.50. Did you do it twice?
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
Did you print the little paper out?
Okay, now you want your balance from the purchase price to down payment and the mortgage. So what does that mean? So what you want to think about, because this can get confusing, total estimated required to close. So this is like, how much cash is this buyer gonna have to wire for their closing the day before? Okay, so when you think about it that way, what this means is you take the purchase price, you minus their down payment, you minus their mortgage, and you also minus their escrow. Well, that's the same thing, right? So 166 minus 75,000 minus 10,000.
It's 81,000.
81,000. Okay. And then your total estimated closing costs and prepaid. So you drop that $6,924.50 here to this line. And then you add those two together, and what do you get?
$87,924.50.
Good job, Laura. Okay. And now you're done. And this should really only take you about 15 or 20 minutes. It shouldn't take you an hour like we've just spent on it, but we went over a lot. And then I always just sign mine. And then you assign your buyer, which we're not going to do. And you share it over. Oh, don't forget to put your buyer's name up here, Erin.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm in DocuSign doing it, so I've filled it in. I've been filling it in along the way.
Okay, perfect.
90-something% of them are
And
using,
autofill.
no, they're using DocuSign.
They're using DocuSign.
So it's gonna be,
Yeah.
they can't sign it.
All right, I'm a dinosaur. It's time for me to start using DocuSign, I guess. Okay, so questions or ahas, like something you learned that's going to help you, or something you have a question about before we move on to seller net sheets.
All right, go back to the balance from.
Well, I had, I just realized I just recently did one wrong for a buyer. Because I
Oh, okay.
didn't add those right figures at the bottom correctly.
Okay, yeah, that honestly, I can get.
I didn't know you would add in with the lenders giving the 81,000. I thought.
No, that's her cash. This buyer is putting, this is her cash, 81,000.
Oh, okay, that is her
Yeah.
cash. Okay, so I
Yeah.
did do it right because I added like the cash and the estimated closing costs to come up with my total estimated required to close. Okay, never mind.
Okay, good. Excellent.
Maybe I did do it right.
Hold on one second. We have a question in the room from Laura. Hold on.
Okay, tell me how you got the 81,000 again.
Okay, yeah, I know that's a confusing part. So you're going to take the difference of the purchase price, which is 166, the down payment, which is really the escrow, 10,000, and the mortgage amount, which is 75,000. And when you subtract all of that, you should get 81,000.
And that's what they're gonna have to.
That's what this specific buyer is going to bring to closing, plus the closing costs. Okay. Question on Zoom?
Yeah, I just have a quick question. What about the tax proration? Where do you put that on this sheet?
It's not on here.
But shouldn't it be?
Well, it's actually going to be a credit. Depending on the time of year, it's going to be a credit, not a debit. So, I mean, I guess you could put it on here if you wanted to. You could add, but it's not something that's required for us.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So when you did the tax thing of the amount of the tax, that was basically for escrow?
That's for escrow, yeah. So what Laura's asking is the tax line here for property taxes. It's just the amount that the lender is going to require to hold in escrow at the time of your closing.
So think of it here as saying estimated prepaids and escrows.
Right.
That section at the bottom.
And another quick question on the property tax and homeowners insurance.
Yep.
Does it vary? Like, is it always 4 to 6 months and 14 months, or doesn't it vary by lender and by when they purchase?
Not that I know of.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes.
Xavier says sometimes.
Some lenders will ask for 3 months.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, but never more than that. So 4 to 6 months, it's conservative and it'll be higher than.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. Questions or ahas? I hope you learned something.
Yes.
I definitely did. I'm sending it for her to sign right now. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Erin. Thanks for letting us use your.
And are we gonna, can we go back? Because I had to step out on the important piece for the title piece on how you calculated that. Is it gonna be recorded where I can go back and listen to that?
It is, but it's really simple. I showed you how to use Star Title Partners website. You don't have to use Star Titles. You can find another one if you want to. But I use Star Title, StarTitlePartners.com, and they have a little get your quote on here. Hold on. You just press this button, and it asks you the address and everything, and it'll put everything in for you.
You can also create an account, and that gives you a place where you can save them all if you need to go back and edit them or anything like that.
Like I'll give
Gives
you,
more
I'll show
fields.
you something that we do too.
Yeah, because I've done it before, but I've never seen that detailed. I don't know.
Yeah, like you can do oh wait, that's the wrong. So this is what? Oh, it's in here. Oh gosh. So we can do several things. Xavier's gonna pull it up. Oh, are you sharing your screen now? I'll stop sharing my screen. Too late. We have to wrap this up in just a few minutes, guys. I told Kevin, there's no way this is going to take 90 minutes. Yeah, it took way more than 90 minutes. We needed 2 hours. I said 1 hour.
That's how she rolls.
Sorry, everybody. We may have to schedule the seller net sheet for a different time.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we probably need to do another one because we're not going to be able to get to that. Huh? I guess we have to ask them. Was it good? It's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody have any specific questions around the seller net sheet that I can answer because we're not going to be able to? Hey, Xavier and I draw a crowd. Are we entertaining?
Yes.
It is very, let me pull it up. Oh, here you go.
Okay, so this here.
Wait, you have
Yeah,
to.
come over here. So on the Star Title website, if you're using this system to get some of the numbers for yourself, if you create an account, you'll see I have a tab for seller net sheet. I have a tab for buyer estimate. So if we went to buyer estimate, in this case, let's just go ahead and use the same example. We'll just use, and then this is where I could put A22. So purchase with financing, conventional, 166. Wait, what is happening here? Oh my gosh. It's like my mouse is moving all over the place. 6. You see that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Sorry, my mouse is doing something really weird.
So the reason I can interject here about the apps, because a lot of title companies have their own apps to do it, like Fidelity.
Yeah.
It's more than just an app.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yes.
absolutely. Yes.
And then the down payment amount was like
81.
75 or whatever.
91.
What?
91 is the down payment, I think.
What?
Oh, yeah. Well, the escrow was 10.
Correct.
You need to include closing?
Okay, cool. All right. So then you can put like, an interest rate, you can put closing date. Like what's the closing date?
Tentatively August 11th, but probably sooner.
Wait. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then there's just more fields here than on the quick little one because it gives you some of those numbers. And then you said 8 what for homeowners insurance, 95 or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
And then it was like 2071 or something when we did the stuff, right? And then you could put HOA and things, but let's just go ahead and hit calculate. And you'll see this breakdown And it's going to give you like do it closing costs and stuff. But remember, it doesn't have some of our other things in here. But if we go down, it'll break it down for you. And so now we can see those same fees that was on the sheet or the little tab that Jackie had, right? And it just breaks down some of the numbers for you. And then here's the question that you had, right, Christy. And then and Laura had brought it up too. So that's what the credit's going to be, because they did a proration because we actually put the closing date in here. So it did it on a daily basis proration amount, but that's not what's going to show up on our thing, right? Now, we didn't put anything else like in pounds or mortgage payoff or anything like this in here, but this is just the buyer one. So
And show
for
the
those
seller one too.
on that date. So for a seller, it's going to be very similar, but you would have to just put the info in, and it's going to give you that
You put the
same
commission and all of
calculation,
that in.
and it'll
Now
show.
Now for the seller one, I just go to the star title and I print this one and
I'm
have.
like, thank you.
Yeah, so I mean that works, but what we want you to really get is sometimes some of the stuff changes, and so yeah, it works here. If you're using Star Title as the closing company, then sure, it'll be a little more accurate in that case. But if you're not, and you're just doing it as a general estimate, you may want to take some of the numbers from here and then put them on the sheet that the market
That's
center
a good
provided
point.
for you.
That's a good point. Thank you.
Okay, guys, we need to wrap up. We will schedule another class for the seller net sheet. I apologize, we didn't manage the time sufficiently, but we'd love to hear what you got out of the class today. Any sharing that you might want to contribute to somebody else? Was it worth your time?
It was
That
very
little asterisk box that you guys added is awesome. I like that idea. Thank you for that.
Great.
Yeah, we want to hear from 3 people, so that's 1 person. So 3 ahas before we're done.
This is Shelley, and I had aha too. I feel like I have been like doing the property taxes wrong. So I'm not using the estimator, so that was good. I've kind of been basing that estimate on what's already the current property tax.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Good,
that was
Shelley. I'm
helpful.
glad that was helpful for you.
Yeah.
One
Thank
more? One more person? Don't leave me hanging.
Going to the tax and calculating the tax.
Yeah.
Yes.
Counting tax.
Laura got the same thing. She said going to the tax estimator. Yeah, that's okay. You can get the same thing someone else got. That's fine. Okay, guys, good luck. Congratulations in being in the most awesome business that you can possibly be in. And you can hit us up. I will put my phone number in the chat if you need me. Thank you for showing up today and not making me talk to myself.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good luck getting all those numbers right. May the odds be ever in your favor.
Thank you.
Bye. Nice to meet you, Laura.
Same here.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.